Hi everyone, you're welcome to Familia Mtaani Podcast. I am your host today. My name is Sarah Wamboi Murigi, and I am more than delighted to have you for our very first podcast of the year. Shangwe na vigelegele. So today we have a very amazing theme that we're going to discuss, and it is something that you have probably seen on the newspaper headlines, on your news channels headlines. It is back to school season. And because it's back to school, today we have a very suited guest for this topic. And I'm going to give her just a few minutes to introduce herself. She is a teacher. And why we have a teacher for this back to school podcast is because teachers are right at the center of back to school season. I mean, when we think of January, we think of, schools are opening. Teachers are the superheroes of the season, if I can say that. So I'm going to welcome our guest. She will tell us her name. She will tell us more about her profession and where she practices, and we'll set the ball rolling. You're welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Ann Nzau. I'm a teacher of junior school at Harambee School. I teach Kiswahili and CRE. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, excited on today's topic. Thank you so much for having me.
Karibu sana. So, mwalimu wa Kiswahili na CRE. So this means we're going to switch at some point. Wahenga walisema. Okay, thank you so much, Annie, for being with us here today. We are delighted. And I would just want us to go right into the theme of the day, back to school. And I think I'll start by asking, from your personal point or your personal view as a teacher, what does back to school mean for you? What bell does it ring in your mind?
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Back to school means that, learners and teachers are getting back to school after maybe a break, maybe a short break like a mid-term break or a long-term break. That is a long holiday for academics purpose. Yeah.
Amazing. And you've mentioned it could be a short break, it could be a long break. And we know that in Kenya, this November-December holiday is the longest holiday. So there are some students that stay up to 2 months, those who are probably not sitting their national exams. So the whole of November, the whole of December, and a bonus of a few days into January. So my first question will be, what is the biggest effect on students from your teacher's point of view? What is the biggest effect of a very long holiday on students that you observe when schools open, a time like this?
Okay, thank you. One of the challenges that we face maybe after a long holiday like this one, close to 2 months and some weeks, there's academic difficulties, whereby you find learners and they're forgotten about even some writing their names. They have forgotten what they learned in their previous grade if they are transiting to the next level. Mm-hmm. So there's an academic difficulty. It's like someone doing a foundation or building a house from the foundation. You have to dig well so that the building would be firm. Yeah. So when they are coming back from a long holiday, you find that they have forgotten everything you taught them in their previous class, and it's like you are starting new with them. Yeah. So academic difficulties is one of the challenge. Mm-hmm. You also find behavior adjustment. Yeah. There are challenges because of what they are used to at home. Mm-hmm. At home there are no rules. Okay, some of the homes do not have rules and regulations, but at school they have to abide by the laws or rules that are set in a school, like putting on a uniform, being in class, and many others. But you see, they are difficult in behavior. Yeah, those are some of the challenges you find with learners, especially when they are from a long break. Yeah.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And I think I just want to pick it up from your main point on there's academic challenges and behavior change from such a long holiday. And here at Familia Mtaani Podcast, we are looking at having real-time space where parents get to interact with these conversations, interact with this information? And what do you think parents can do to prepare their children for back to school seasons? You've mentioned that, especially on the academic challenge, because when schools close, we forget the school bag, we forget the books, and we start picking them back, the first week of January. What do you think parents can do to prepare their kids for such a back to school season?
Okay, thank you. Parents can prepare their learners early. Maybe they should prepare them early, like remind them of the school when the school is opening, so that it can sink in their mind that they are opening in a particular date, let's say 5th of January. So if they start preparing them earlier, that one will do well with them in preparation. They will be prepared psychologically. They also need to adjust their sleeping time, meal times. There are times when at home they can sleep late at night, like 11 or towards midnight, because of they're engaged in one program or the other. But they can start towards school opening. They can adjust the sleeping times of their children in preparation for school. They should also take the part of prayer. A parent is a priest of their children. So they need to pray for them, because some of the behavior or some of the challenges that learners can face or children are bound to face at a school is because they are spiritual. They can only be handled from the spiritual perspective. So they need to pray for them so that their behavior would be molded or their character would be molded. They can also get in touch with the school by maybe getting the required items to be bought, like books and so on, so that this one will prepare them, even the children, set the mood for back to school. Yes.
Wow, that was such a comprehensive response. And I love that you've outlined some of the actionable responsibilities that parents can take in terms of preparing their children for back to school, And I'm just thinking, when January starts, I think we need to start changing the conversations, in the household. Shule zinafunguliwa, so you need to get ready, just to set their minds back to school so that it's also not a shock to them. Some children cry when it's back to school. I happen to have a small brother, and every time we are taking him back to school, he's very reluctant because home is comfortable. There's so much to be done at home. There is a lot of freedom, a lot of fun, and in school we're getting back to schedules, we're getting back to programs, timelines to be followed. And you've also mentioned the point of prayer, for the parents to just, commit their children to prayer, that they'll be able to adjust well, they'll be able to, cope with the school programs. And I think that makes me think of the next question, or rather what we can discuss next, which is a question really. I would like you to share an experience. What is the two different experiences? One is, what is your best experience with back to school seasons? And what would be your worst experience with back to school seasons?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll begin with the best.
The best, okay.
Yes, the best is, for me, like, teaching is a calling, and therefore, having learners back, for me, it's something that brings joy. So for me, back to school is that joy of seeing learners coming back to school after a break or after having not seen them for a while, and therefore seeing their smile on their faces, seeing each one with a lot of hope and expectation for their future. That says a lot to me as a teacher. So therefore the joy of coming back to school, and also seeing, the small, their hope, which is written all over their faces, about their future. They are expectant. They are willing to learn new knowledge. So that is one of my joy, having them back from home. Maybe that moment, we can call it the worst moment. Me also as a teacher, you find it a bit difficult to adjust. Especially
not
maybe
students only.
yeah, especially during the first maybe day or first week.
Yeah.
You are adjusting.
Yeah.
You know, you've been on a break. You are coming back to the system.
Yeah.
You now need also to adjust.
Right.
So that adjustment from whatever you used to, the activities you used to engage with, and now get into the system.
Yeah.
It also takes a while for you as a teacher. So that adjustment, time adjustment, meals and so on, just need to adjust little by little. Yeah.
Wow. I think that's very interesting for me to hear. I think with my time as a student, we always think teachers are just a different level of life, you know. And hearing that you also have a challenge, or rather it's something for you to adjust back to schedules. We always think teachers are used to school systems. They were born in school, you know, they're used to all this. But it's interesting to hear that you also have to take some time to, you know, get yourself back to programs, get yourself back to the teaching, the meals. Wow, that's interesting. Now, there's something you mentioned on the joy of back to school season, where you get to interact with the students once again, seeing their you know, students are very proactive and jumpy and so much energy and joy. And I think also it would be expedient to mention, when we have the back to school moment or back to school season, you may observe that probably some students are showing some signs of, you know, retreating or pulling back, because we understand not all students may have the same experience during holidays, you know, coming from different backgrounds, coming from different situations, different homes. How do you as a teacher identify that probably this student may need some help because their holiday season may not have been the best? Right? Some may have opportunities to travel, family, and celebrate. But on the other hand, there may be some students that probably didn't have the best of holidays. How do you as a teacher identify, and how do you maybe intervene in such a situation?
Okay, thank you. Okay, as a teacher, you are a role model, and also you're observant.
Yeah.
You observe the behavior of the learners. Therefore, you not fail to identify a learner who has difficulties.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can identify learners with difficulties through maybe truancy or absenteeism. If they are coming today, tomorrow they are not there in school. So that absenteeism says a lot, that they are not yet back to school fully. Also, you can look at behavior that is uncontrolled behavior.
Yeah.
That is, maybe they are engaging in fights, or, you know, they are abusing each other, or their behavior is different from the others.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see or say this learner is going through a phase. Also, you can look at how they are behaving, responding in class.
Yeah.
During a lesson. Are they answering questions? Are they keeping quiet? That can also send a message to you that they could be going through something.
Yeah.
You can also see some, maybe they are isolated during breaks. They don't want to interact with others. They want to stay alone. Okay, that can also send a message to you as a teacher that this one has a challenge. So how do you intervene? You intervene, one, by you identify the learner with the problem or with the challenge. After identification, you call them, or you have a conversation with them. So that you can get to know more. It might be more than whatever is on their face. So you call them and you have a talk with them, conversation with them, and you get to know whatever challenge they are going through. So you can also get to in touch with their parents or guardians, get to know, are they having challenges at home? These challenges at home may affect the learner in class.
Right.
So you involve the parent also. Those are some of the ways you can let them write on a piece of paper what they are going through. That one will speak a lot about their problems and challenges, and you'll be able to take actions after you've identified the problem. Yes.
Wow. Amazing. I think that would be such a great initiative, even for teachers to do, especially in this season, to set the pace for probably the whole class, if possible. Because I think if you have several students that are still, healing from some circumstances or situations that are not very comfortable, it might hinder their academic performance for the term. And even mentioned on the point of writing notes, and I remember having them write maybe on a piece of paper when we were in school. If we had sessions where counselors would come to school, maybe to talk to us about mental health, talk to us about contemporary issues that people were afraid of, maybe boldly speaking out. We would have, they'd have us write on piece of papers, and then we share them to the speakers, and they would know that, okay, so probably there's a certain issue that is common among several students, and where the case is maybe beyond just speaking to the whole group of students. They would make an effort to meet the student aside and, talk to them, see how they can help. And one of the points you have mentioned also is on informing the parents or reaching out to the parents. Now, teachers are major stakeholders in children's education and eventually children's lives, because I think 80% of student life is in school. And the parent may have limited time with students, probably because of work. So when the parent was leaving in the morning, the kids are also leaving to school. And when the children are out of school, probably the parent has not yet come because they are at work. And when they come, they have very little time to interact. And so my question would be, what do you think parents can do to intentionally interact with their children more? Because I find that in my student life, you'd find that teachers may be even more aware of the students than parents. But probably there's a parent who, even with a busy schedule, they want to know, how can I be more involved in the life of my children? How can I be more intentional? How can I be more present, even with busy school schedules and busy work schedules?
Okay, thank you. We are living in a world whereby parents are too busy for their children.
Mm-hmm.
They leave their children for maids or caregivers to just take the role of the parents.
Yeah.
And that one also is a challenge to schoolwork.
Yeah.
So parents they need to have an academic follow-up
Mm-hmm.
of their learners through the teachers.
Yeah.
They have academic, follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
How is my child doing in this particular learning area?
Yeah.
Why are they failing in this particular? What can I do in order for them to improve?
Yeah.
That academic follow-up is very key for a parent.
Mm-hmm.
The parents should also teach their learners to be independent, because they are grooming them.
Yeah.
They're grooming them to be future leaders and responsible over their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they need to groom them, instill discipline. Discipline will cause them to be responsible over their lives, and therefore that will help curb the issues with discipline.
Yeah.
Teaching them to be responsible. Parents also need to be aware. They need to create time, at least in a week, with their learners or their children, to create time, to set apart time with them. This time they will be having with their children for a talk.
Yeah.
It can be, it can be organized, or it can be an impromptu talk, whereby they get to know how their learners are faring about.
Yeah.
So therefore they can do that. They also need to, get in touch with the school programs.
Yeah.
Have their calendars when they are going for activities, games activity, and they need to also support their children by paying the fees that is required.
Yeah.
They also need to provide the necessary resources that are needed for their education. This will make their learners or their children responsible, and that child will be comfortable seated in class.
Yeah.
If a child knows that their parent has not paid their fees, will be uncomfortable in class and will now begin to think if they pay, they do their part,
Right.
so that their children will also do their part.
Yeah.
That will also help in behavior control.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. There's a portion of how parents can support, and you've mentioned, facilitating fees and maybe school fees and fees for any other activities within school, like games and all. And to be very honest, I think some of these activities would motivate me to go back to school. I was a hockey player in high school, and when I remember that we will have, hockey trainings and the games and the competitions, that would really give me more motivation, if I was feeling like I would want to stay home a bit longer. And I believe this is a common feeling for most students, that if they're feeling reluctant to go back to school, or you feel like it's not a very good feeling for students to, get back to the normal schedule. But activities, extracurricular activities, music, games, drama, and I'd like you to just share on the same, maybe what parents need to understand from the school side or from the teacher's point of view. Is what's the importance of this for our students stay at school, importance of games, music, and other extracurricular activities. I was also a scout, and I loved, anytime I'd feel sad or I'm starting to feel homesick, I just remind myself that, we'll have scouting, we'll have games, we'll have music, we'll have drama. So maybe what do parents need to know that they may not know about these activities and their effect on students in school?
Okay, thank you. Now, parents need to understand that, as the saying goes, that, Jack without play makes him a dull boy.
Right.
All work without play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah.
So, the curriculum that is in place right now, it's quite different from the earlier one.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite engaging, developing a 21st century learner,
Right.
a skilled learner who is well fastened with the internet and so on, technology, all-round learner. Therefore, the benefit of helping or letting their children participate in co-curricular activities, some of the benefits include, it helps them develop holistically, a holistic development of the learner. That is, all round. It's not about all academics from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
No, they need to, that break whereby they develop holistically. They might not be well gifted in academics, but they can be gifted in co-curriculum.
Yeah.
So that means another importance of participating in co-curriculum, it helps develop the talent of the learner.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some who are gifted, especially this new curriculum. TBC is really developing the talents of the learners.
Yeah.
It is geared towards, that every learner is gifted differently and therefore needs to be given an opportunity to showcase their talents.
Yeah.
So co-curriculum helps them develop their talent. It also helps them develop confidence. Yeah, confidence in life. Confidence brings about boldness. In order to, when they are faced with challenges, they are able to they are able to overcome them because of the boldness they have acquired in doing a particular activity. It also helps them, it helps them develop, physically, physical growth, health-wise.
Yeah.
Health-wise, they're able to, there are some of the lifestyle diseases which are caused by, learners, take more time seated.
Yeah.
So if you engage them in co-curriculum activities, you help them develop their health.
Yeah.
Therefore avoiding or staying away from lifestyle disease or diseases generally. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. I think for me, especially on games in high school really made me, one was social interaction. I loved that it gave me a platform to interact with my classmates or schoolmates on a different level.
Yeah.
Because in class we are all seated, books at hand, just looking at the teacher. Of course, there will be interaction, maybe especially for the social subjects. But I think I used to get surprised every time when I see my classmate on a very different level of energy. They're so excited. And that even helped me foster some friendships, because in class we may not be able to, interact very much because of there's a program to be followed. We need to study this at this time. But we go for games and I realize, so Faith can really sing, Faith can really be that excited. And that used to make me so glad that I can get to know people more on such a platform. Now, you've mentioned CBE or CBC, the current curriculum that is taking shape, or rather, it's now being integrated into senior school. We've had the grade 10 students reporting this first 3 weeks of January. Maybe you'd like to share something on the same. What would parents expect, especially not even on the technicalities, but rather how different would this be from, the high school that we were used to in terms of, on a general basis, in terms of studies, in terms of school activities, games, extracurricular activities, and teachers' interaction with students?
Okay, thank you. Learners are now transiting to senior school grade 10.
Yeah.
It's a completely new class, which has not been there before.
Yeah.
These are the pioneers, right from earlier years. This is the first class to be in seniors school.
Right.
Therefore, changes are expected to occur. And therefore, the curriculum is quite different from the previous one, the 8441, which is still in place in Form 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And now, therefore, these are like Form 2s because they have been in junior school with one year, which they were supposed to spend in their earlier year in high school. But now they are in Form 2, but they are now joining like Form 1s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one, they have already developed in character, in physique, and so on. Therefore, there's a lot of adjustment that needs to be done by the parents, especially the learners, and also the school. And I believe the school is well prepared on how to receive them. They need to be patient with them, because some might have chosen a career pathway that maybe they find it a bit difficult. So for the first maybe 1 month or so, there's need for adjustment. Yeah, so that they can fit in to this new curriculum. Yeah, and also support is needed. Yeah. Support by parents, by teachers. You also need to understand them. They're in a phase. And, at that point, the adolescence is at climax. Yeah. Therefore, a lot of behavior changes are expected. Yeah. And so adjustment, changes needs to be put. And, of course, specific measures should be put in place on how to receive them, on how to guide them. They need a lot of guidance. Right. Guidance in the pathway they are into, so that they will not make errors and maybe regret later on. So it's all, they need to just be talked to in a conversation, to be guided, to be motivated, to be encouraged, so that they will fit in very well in their new environment.
Oh, amazing. Wow, there's an interesting portion that you have mentioned, which I would love us to continue with in our second part on, especially for between the age of 12, these students are getting into adolescence, teenagehood is setting in, and this definitely has an effect on their academic work, their interaction with fellow students. So I'd love us to pause at that and we continue in our second part.